House Democrats eyeing the next step in their impeachment inquiry as we await the release of 2 reports into alleged FBI abuse and bias in the 2016 Russia investigation. Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn, who sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee and will be a juror should impeachment head to the Senate, joins us to discuss all these developments. Senator, good to have you with us tonight.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Okay, so we're starting to hear a little bit more about the Horowitz report and what it may or may not say. This in from the Washington Post saying, running the FBI's Russia probe, but documents errors, saying that there will be some findings. There were trouble, but not bias. It says the report generally rebuts accusations of a political conspiracy among senior law enforcement officials against the Trump campaign to favor Democrat Hillary Clinton, while also knocking the Bureau for procedural shortcomings in the FBI, the officials said. This is what Rush Limbaugh has to say as we wait for the report.
I'm not all in on Horowitz. Horowitz is from the same group of people that have been testifying all week and last.
So do you think that the people who are actually hoping that this will exonerate the president or will in some way show that there was at the highest levels of the FBI real trouble and real bias are going to be disappointed by this report?
Shannon, what I think we're going to find out from the Horowitz report is who all at the FBI was involved and how much spying they used the Obama administration for spying on the Trump campaign. And we know that this took place. So they've had 100 witnesses. Those witnesses have reviewed their statements. We will be able to look at that in total on December 9th. We will have a hearing on it on December 11th. And I think it's going to answer some questions. We do know there is one FBI lawyer who is said to have changed a reporting process dealing with the FISA warrant against Carter Page and wanting to find out if they are still there, what has happened to them, if they are dismissed, if there's reprimands, if there are criminal charges. And there will be some good information to take action on in that Horowitz report.
Bradley Moss, who is an attorney we often have on the show as well, says this in a tweet: what on earth will DeGeneva, meaning Joe DeGeneva, one of the attorneys, and all the Trump cultists do if Horowitz report basically slaps the FBI on the wrist for some sloppiness? He says no complaints from me for doing so, but otherwise say they did everything in compliance with the law. So if that is what he ends up saying, Senator, will you accept this report as being factual and accurate?
We are going to accept the Horowitz report. We feel like that this is something that will give us insight. We're also looking forward to the Durham report. We know that there is going to be additional information that will come from that. Shannon, what we have to realize is that the American people voted for and elected Donald Trump in 2016. This is who they chose to be their president. He is a disruptor. He is there to drain the swamp. He is doing a very good job of that. And that has made a lot of people who are the elitist and the bureaucracy really nervous. And they don't like it because they have liked D.C. the way it was, where they could chum up. And whether it was Democrat or Republican, have this elitist group and this bureaucracy that kind of ran on its own, regardless of what the people had to say. And with Donald Trump coming in, much of that is coming to an end. We also know that people want to be able to trust the institutions, and they expect the FBI to be truthful, to be factual. They have been appalled at what we've learned from Lisa Page and from Strzok and from Comey and all the different actions that show what they tried to do was use the federal government to undermine a private citizen who was standing for election for the highest office in the land. And then he won. And then they went into overdrive.
Well, let me ask you to that point, because we've heard now 2 weeks of public testimony with respect to the impeachment hearings. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman is one of the folks who testified, and a tweet you put out about him has gotten a lot of attention. You said vindictive Vindman is the whistleblower, and you put that in quotes. Handler, Jennifer Rubin, who is a conservative blogger and writer over at the Washington Post, among other places, says, this is a disgrace, Senator. And you know, there were critiques that were much more colorful than that. So do you stand by the tweet?
I do stand by the tweet. Shannon, what we have is someone who defied his chain of command, and his direct supervisor said he had a problem with judgment. He had a problem with the chain of command, and he had a problem. The Vindman had a problem with the president. The president wasn't taking his advice. He didn't like that, and he wanted the president to take his advice. And so what did he do? He defied that chain of command. He talked to somebody in the intel community. He then would not answer that question when he was asked if he had given this information to someone who was the whistleblower. And of course, this is something that should cause everybody concern. Look, you honor someone for their service to the country, and certainly we honor the service that he gave to the country. But Shannon, I got to tell you, when you are defying your chain of command, when your direct supervisor says you have a problem with judgment and a problem with defying that chain of command, and you are going after not just a colleague, you are going after the commander-in-chief, and it is over a policy disagreement. And then look at where we find ourselves here with this whistleblower report and with this impeachment. And this has gone on, and everybody has said there is nothing that rises to the level of impeachment or bribery or extortion. The American people are tired of this, and they want to get the facts. They want to get this over with. They want to hear the Horowitz report. They want the FBI to be trustworthy.
Yeah, it's all coming, and we'll see what happens with the House Judiciary Committee, and if this indeed lands with you in the Senate. We'll watch every step. In the meantime, enjoy the time at home. Let us know what you hear from your constituents, Senator.
Will do.
Good to have you.
Uh-huh.